Hi everyone. We're just going to wait a few more minutes. We've still got some people logging in, so shouldn't be too much longer. Thank you for your patience. Won't be long. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our webinar this evening. We're going to be covering our counselling and psychotherapy courses tonight. Just want to say thank you to everybody who's taking time out to join us this evening. We know that many of you have busy schedules, so we'll aim to make this evening as informative as possible for you. Just moving on, please, Andrew. Okay, great. So my name's Chris. I'm one of the course advisors for ICON, and I'm sure I've spoken to many of you over the phone. I'm based on the Sydney campus, and I'll be hosting the webinar tonight. I'd also like to introduce Kathryn Harvey. She is our academic program coordinator for counselling and psychotherapy, and she's going to share a wealth of knowledge about our courses this evening. So welcome, Kathryn. And we also have our other course advisor who's based on the Melbourne campus, and Ross is going to be answering your questions this evening. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little Q&A box. So any questions that you have about the course as we move through, or any questions in regards to what you're trying to find out about delivery or course structure, etc., feel free to put them in the chat. We will be covering most of these though throughout the webinar tonight, so they may be addressed later through the session. If we have time, we'll also be covering some Q&As at the end of this evening. Okay, so let's move on, please, Andrew. Okay, so as I mentioned, questions for us, admission requirements, course structure, accreditation, etc. We will be covering these, but anything we don't cover, feel free to put them in the Q&A box. Next, moving on, please, Andrew. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to introduce Kathryn, and Kathryn, I guess the first question is if you'd like to just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then if we can look into what is counselling and psychotherapy.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris. And welcome, everyone. It's great to see people showing interest in learning counselling. It's an amazing career path. So I am a registered clinical counsellor, and I've been practicing for years, and I'm currently also supervising some counsellors. So I'm also an academic, and I contribute to academic research as well. So my role is the program coordinator for both the Bachelor of Counselling, which includes the diploma, and the Masters of Counselling and Psychotherapy as well. So there's a lot. Look, counselling and psychotherapy, as I said, it's one of those amazing jobs that is really, it's a rewarding career path. I can't sell it enough to people. So basically, I think I'll just take it back a little bit. So one of the first questions we often hear is, what is psychology? What's the difference between psychology, counselling, and psychotherapy? So it's a really common question. Psychology focuses on understanding the thoughts and emotions and behaviour. So do we as counsellors and psychotherapists. But they can diagnose as well, and we don't. We don't diagnose. So we as counsellors, we support people experiencing challenges, emotional difficulties, relationship concerns, and those significant periods of change we all encounter throughout our lives. So we can focus on coping strategies, personal growth, well-being, and overall those practical strategies for change that people can transfer into other aspects of their life as it arises. Psychotherapy often explores deeper or more long-standing emotional and relational problems and patterns. It can look at the past experiences and attachment and reoccurring patterns to support greater insight and for longer-term psychological change. In saying that, they often say that psychotherapy is longer in duration than counselling. Counselling can be a shorter term. Not always. I had many clients for years. So it depends on the individual clients. But basically, counselling and psychotherapy are professional helping practices that support people with emotional, psychological, relational, and those life concerns. They both use, as does psychology, the therapeutic relationship to help explore the client's experiences and for them to help them develop insight into what's happening for them and to look at meaningful change process for them. So we work with mental health concerns and personal growth, relationships, grief and loss, coping with life's challenges. And you might be working with clients for career transitions or challenges dealing with parenting. So there's all sorts of things. So we can use different approaches when we work with our clients, but underpinning all of it is that strong therapeutic relationship. And that's what we teach you throughout the course. We learn all about the theories and things, but it's the importance of that relationship and how that positive relationship we have with our clients, it's not a friendship, it is a professional relationship, how that supports change for our clients. So we look at the theories such as EMDR, eco-psychotherapy, solution-focused, CBT, just to name a few. So, but what we're looking at is we're focusing on the current concerns that's happening for our client in the here and now and how we can support them for their change. Career opportunities is endless. Private practice is what a lot of people strive for, private practice. And being in private practice myself, I strongly encourage people to work for others first to get that understanding. But you've got private practice, you've got mental health and community services, you've got schools, you've got universities, youth services, you've got Headspace, all those as well. You've got the EAPs, the Employment Assistance Programs as well. And online counselling is becoming more and more popular. So as you can see, there's many opportunities. You can work in case management with a client base as well. Okay, so let's move on now to the client outcomes. I mentioned that a bit before, but let's sort of look at it a little bit more now. So counselling outcomes, they look different for every client, and they're not limited to the treatment of mental health symptoms. So outcomes can improve. Outcomes for our clients may include improvements in overall mental health and well-being, such as reducing anxiety symptoms, managing low mood and depressive symptoms, and managing emotional distress. So I've mentioned several times, we focus on that personal growth, which a really key aspect of that for our clients, and something we do focus on in our courses for ourselves, is that self-awareness as well. So we want our clients to increase their confidence, their resilience, be able to emotionally regulate. And that's what we as counsellors need to do when we're working with some challenging clients. It may be activating something that's happened for us in our lives, and we need to be able to regulate so our emotions don't transfer over to our clients. So counselling contributes to behaviour change in our clients too. We can work with them on better coping strategies to manage those life challenges. Or how to regulate their emotional response, such as anger. So we can focus on those day-to-day things occurring for our clients. But really, as I said, it comes down to that really strong therapeutic relationship and how we can work with our clients. We don't tell them what to do. We're walking alongside them. We're showing empathy. We're demonstrating empathy. But as I like to say, demonstrating empathy, we're walking beside our clients, but we're not taking our socks off. So we're still remaining authentic to us. So we're walking in their shoes, but we're still keeping our socks on.
Kathryn, just jumping in there for a minute. I know I can see the client outcomes, but obviously you've seen a lot of students go through the course and just their own personal development and how they grow throughout the program. Did you want to speak a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Chris. And I know from my own personal experience as a counselling student many years ago, that really occurred to me as well. I grew from what I thought I knew about myself, my values and things, and I found that I was able to identify more with that. So it really is, we learn about ourselves and where we're at and how our relationships have influenced how we respond to others and how we interact in general. So it's about learning. You really do learn about yourself a lot It's quite
Oh,
empowering.
it
At
is.
times it can be confronting, but it's really empowering and really helps you become, I think it really improves your own well-being too.
Hmm.
So really
Absolutely.
getting
Yeah.
to being more comfortable in yourself.
I've seen some amazing changes over the years with students who have gone through the course,
Mm,
and they're, just from when they start to where they finish, it's really rewarding to see,
mm.
the transformative process that they go through. And later, I guess when we get to some of the assessments and
Yeah.
how they work with those, for your own benefit as well in regards to self-reflection.
Yeah,
So
it's
thank you.
interesting. It's interesting talking to some students at graduation, how they really stated how much they'd changed and how
Mm,
much they really felt more confident in things. And yeah, it's really quite empowering.
thank you.
Okay, moving on. Oh, actually, can I stop there, Chris, and can I add something?
Yeah, sure. No
Yeah,
problem. We'll go back, Andrew. Moving back,
sorry.
sliding back, Andrew, please. Thank you.
One thing a lot of people ask me is, why should I become a counselor? Why? It's where you're going to make a meaningful difference in people's lives. It's you're going to support people at their most vulnerable and then help them to make better choices or to overcome challenges. And in order to do that, we develop this over our training too, that empathy and compassion and those strong listening and communication skills. And we've already said self-awareness, but patience and openness, being authentic, being our true self, is really important as well. One key thing is too, is you learn how to you develop that non-judgmental approach. So I think that's really important. So it's a really great career for those, and learning journey for those that want to understand others and build those genuine therapeutic relationships and support people to create meaningful change in their lives.
Thank you,
Moving on
Kathryn.
now.
Okay, I'm just going to touch on our courses here, and then Kathryn's going to go into a bit more detail about assessments and placements and where these sit. So we have a Bachelor of Counselling and Psychotherapy, which is 3 years. However, nested in that, in the first year, is our Diploma of Counselling and Psychotherapy. So the Diploma of Counselling and Psychotherapy is 1 year. You can exit after that first year or continue on for the another 2 years towards the Bachelor. So that's our first undergraduate program. ICON also has a postgraduate course, the Master of Counselling and Psychotherapy, and nested in that is our graduate certificate in counselling and our graduate diploma of counselling and psychotherapy. So 2 separate programs. First of all, Kathryn's going to cover the diploma/bachelor degree, looking at, say, delivery, what's covered and placement, etc. Thanks,
Okay,
Kathryn.
fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so the Diploma of Counselling is the entry level one. And if you haven't studied at a tertiary level, it's a really good step. It's very hands-on. You look at the theories, you start learning, you do the skills, and you look at ethics in counselling, which is crucial. We look at mental health, we do a placement, and you learn how to do case conceptualization, writing your case notes, etc. So the assessment tasks really vary across the units, but the graduate diploma comprises 8 units and the placement, which is 120 hours. Then moving into the bachelor, if you decide to go on, that's another 2 years. And the bachelor, it's got here 1 supervised placement totaling 360 hours. That is actually the 120 hours from your first year and the 240 from your placement B. The placement is where you get to apply all the skills you've learned into practice. That's where we let you loose with clients in an organization. So the Bachelor consists of some electives. The electives are amazing. We have eco-psychotherapy, we have sand play, addictions, narrative therapy, um, dance therapy is another one, as well as we have our core units. And our core units are quite unique. So we have um, culturally responsive therapeutic practice, which is a core unit for working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We also have the body and the treatment of trauma. So we're learning about it really, that somatic work with our clients. And we have grief and loss and group work as well, just to name a few, and some trauma-informed units. And we wrap up the whole bachelor degree with a subject called Self and the Philosophy of Practice. And that's where you're applying all your learning and reflecting on your growth and development as a practitioner, and you're incorporating that into some research. And your supervised practice B. So I'll do the assessments separate if that's okay, because they're quite similar across the courses. We then move into the graduate certificate, which is the first 4 subjects of the bachelor degree, of the master's. Again, that's skills level, that's entry level skills and the models of therapeutic practice. We look at ethics again as a key component for our practice, and human development. We then, once you've completed that, if that's your pathway, you can go into the graduate diploma, which has another 4 units. And again, this is where we're starting to go into some of those more deeper specialized areas, unraveling the concept of the mind and process experiential. We then, the last 8 units of the master's degree are really deep skills-based units and deeper learning. So you'll look at, we have the conversational model of psychotherapy, which is a really unique unit. And we've got a specialist who teaches that. And then you wrap it all up at the end with your practice. So the one thing is with all our courses is you have usually 3 assessments per unit. The assessments range, it might be an essay, but it might be a podcast, or it might be a presentation to the class, or it might be a practice session recorded with a fellow student. So there's a variety. They're not all just, here's a 2,000 word essay for you to write. We try to make them as interesting as possible. So it's really that experiential learning. You're learning by doing with your skills. The other thing is our delivery of our units. So there's, across the courses, we have in the masters, but in the graduate certificate, graduate diploma and the masters, we have what we call blended units. Now that's where the classes, you'll have 6 2.5-hour classes, plus you'll have a 3-day face-to-face mandatory intensive school on campus. And they're a lot of fun because you start really connecting with your peers and your educator, and practice a lot of skills practice.
There's only 3 of those, isn't there, in the
masters?
In the masters. Yeah, in the masters. So it's just so students understand, it's not every week or every subject. There's only 3 of those throughout the masters where it's the
you have to,
yes. Yep.
And then, in the bachelor degree, the delivery, other types of delivery we have across all the courses are weekly classes for 11 weeks, which go for 3 hours a class. And they're either online or on campus. So we have Melbourne, Sydney, and online for the bachelor. And in the masters, we are also having some classes now on campus in Brisbane and Adelaide as well. So it's expanding. So we're growing. It's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's got a bit more,
A bit more classes on offer. So just to give everyone an idea, like a full-time load, maybe three-hour classes per week, plus about 20 to 25 hours of self-directed learning. So we offer daytime classes online. There are evening classes as well. So depending on your schedule, it's not like you have to jump into this full time because it's not a light-hearted course, and we really want you to embody the material that you're learning. So even one or two subjects is an option depending on your workload. It's not something that you have to, as I said, do full time. We do have options open to you depending on your availability. So if you're in Perth, the counselling and psychotherapy the diploma and the bachelor can be done online via live Zoom classes, but obviously your placement is done in your local area, face to face, working with the placement team. But as Kathryn said, the graduate diploma and Master of Counselling and Psychotherapy and even the graduate certificate will require some face-to-face intensives.
Yeah. And with the placement, a common question is, am I going to get assistance getting placement? Yes, absolutely. We have got a fantastic team behind us that helps you with placement. They'll help you with resumes and how to approach organizations, and then they'll screen the organization to make sure it's going to give you the best learning outcome possible. So they're very supportive, and part of the placement is when you're undertaking placement, you must attend mandatory supervision classes as well, where you have a qualified counselling supervisor helping you and supporting you whilst you're on placement. So we don't just let you go out there and leave you.
The placement team is amazing. You have a lot of preparation prior, and so you'll be ready for that time. And as Kathryn pointed out, that's really where a lot of the theory that you're learning gets put into practice. It's a crucial part of the course, the placement.
And it's the fun part too. When you're at the end, it's like, yay.
That's right. Okay, moving on, please, Andrew. Okay, I'm just going to touch on our scholarships, which is very exciting. We've got our Master of Counselling and Psychotherapy. We've nested in with the graduate certificate and graduate diploma. Now we are offering a Career Builder scholarship on this for trimester 3 in September, which would qualify you for a 10% scholarship off the course fees. So that's if you're a domestic student. Be aware this scholarship is not likely to be extended. So if you are looking to get started, the September intake is a great time to take advantage of that offer. We also have an alumni scholarship for returning students who've completed a course with us previously. You can save yourself 20% off the course fees. So a lot of our students who complete the bachelor degree go on to do the master's, and they also qualify for some credits towards that master's degree. With the intake, we have got our next intake starting in September. Our applications are open for that now. However, they are only open for another 2 weeks. So if you're looking at applying, I'd recommend getting your application in the next few days, mainly because classes do fill up. Timetables will start being released as early as next week. So to ensure that you get the best choice of classes that's going to suit your schedule, I'd recommend starting on your application. That takes less than 10 minutes to complete. You can reach out to a course advisor. They'll be able to go over what eligibility you need to get into the course. So we can certainly cover all of that. And I'm sure most of you have been in touch with a course advisor. So please reach out, but we'll cover some questions also at the end of the course as well, end of the webinar as well. Okay, please move on to the next slide. Flexible delivery modes. I think we covered this, Kathryn. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this? On campus, remote, blended?
I think it's just really, at this stage, the Bachelor isn't offered on campus in Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth. But, online learning is a really good way as well there's no intensive schools at this stage for that course. But yeah, it's just Melbourne and Sydney and Adelaide and Brisbane for the masters. So yeah.
And I always say that, I mean, people think of online learning where they're just sitting behind a screen and listening to a lecturer, whereas we discussed the other day, our classes aren't like that online. They're very interactive. So I'll get Kathryn to give you an idea of how a class may run.
So what we do is the classes are very interactive. We don't do it where we stand there as a lecturer and just feed you the information. We interact, we talk, we discuss topics, you do practices. We'll talk about a topic and then you'll go into small groups and practice that skill or discuss it. So it's very interactive, and that's where, students really need to come in fully engaged and present to get the most out of their learning. It's proven fact that students that the new model of learning where it is that higher level of engagement, students have greater success outcomes with their learning. So it's engage with your peers, engage with your educators, enjoy the journey and embrace it.
Absolutely. And if you are, even though we don't offer the Bachelor on Brisbane campus, we do have a campus in Brisbane. You're more than welcome to go there to campus. There'll be a library there. So it doesn't mean that we have to be totally disconnected from a campus. If you're in Adelaide, you can still visit a campus, use the library. You're more than welcome. So, we'd be happy to see you on campus as well. Moving on, please. What makes ICON special? Okay, so I'll just cover mainly the supportive culture for work placements and practical programs, which we have basically covered. We've got our placement team. We also have an amazing student experience team. So we have a lot of students who are coming into the course who haven't studied for a long time, some mature age students, and basically they need help with writing assessments, feel a little bit overwhelmed with getting onto an online learning platform. So the student experience team is there to assist you with this. And basically there's workshops, online workshops you can attend to help with your assessment writing. You can reach out to student experience if you need help with accessing the platform and you need help with navigating around the platform. So the support is there, and we're certainly used to helping a lot of students through those first initial trimesters of getting started again. Kathryn, I'll let you talk a little bit about the academics and also what makes ICON different, because people say, well, why can't I just go to a bigger university and, study counselling, whereas ICON is fairly unique in that respect in what we offer.
Yeah, our subjects are quite unique. As I mentioned before, the electives, having the embodied psychotherapy, the DADS, having sand play and symbol work with children and adults, that eco-psychotherapy, getting back to nature. And we also have dream work is an elective, and the Eastern practice and Western psychology. So as you can see, they're not standard units. They're not the standard CBT or anything. They are quite unique, and that's really what a lot of students want. That we also have, as I mentioned before, we have in the master's degree and we have a bachelor level, the conversational model, which is there's very few people that are qualified to teach that unit. And so we're very fortunate to have someone who's an expert in that field. So that's a unique one. We also really have those, our educators, we have some specialist trained educators in trauma. So they're bringing those years and years and years of practice and academic to give you the best learning experience in those niche topics. So I think, our educators are passionate, they're practitioners, they're I would hate to put all the years together of experience of all of them. I think it'd be quite phenomenal, but everyone's coming in with their own expertise and wanting to share that with students. So that's what makes us special. They're
And also, I
most
think,
practicing.
sorry, Kathryn, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's okay.
Also, the class sizes aren't huge, so there's a lot of time for more personalised time with lecturers, etc. Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a cap on the size of our skills-based units, so you get more one-on-one, you get more practice time where your educator can observe the skills and support you and guide you. So our classes are smaller, and it's all about the educators and the students building that connection to develop your learning.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay, let's move on to the next. Move on, please. Every step of the way. I think we've covered some of this. So you've got your course advisors. We're here to help you if you're looking at applying for the course or any more information you need about the delivery, structure, etc. We can help you with the application process. So most of you would have spoken to a course advisor if you've enrolled in attending the webinar. Student experience team we covered, facilities and resources. So this is what I mentioned earlier. If you do come to campus, we do have dedicated study spaces. We have library facilities, kitchen, breakout rooms, etc. And online resources, which is what I discussed about assistance if you're needing help with assessments, digital library. So in the past, I know when I was studying, we had to buy our textbooks, but a lot of the readings now can be accessed online as well, which is very helpful. Moving on, please. Okay, we are going to hear from one of our students, Diego Luna. Diego is a long-term student with ICON. He started with the Diploma of Counselling and is now studying our Bachelor of Counselling and Psychotherapy. And he was the 2025 New South Wales International Student of the Year. So we're just going to hear a short video from him just to give you an idea of what some students are doing with this qualification.
My name is Diego Luna. I am from Mexico and I'm a graduate student from ALG. I did study the Diploma in Counseling. What inspired me to pursue the Diploma in Counseling with ALG? I think my passion for people and just the work that I've been doing really needed some sort of professional skill, and I looked into what education provider was out there, and ALG was the best in the market. I provided the lectures, the content, the theory, the prac, and I just really wanted to bring my passion to a professional field and make sure that I had the right knowledge to be able to empower more people around me. So I think it was a great decision. How my experience as an international student has shaped my experience as a counselor at the moment, I think it's huge. It's a massive difference. Coming from Mexico here to Australia, first thing you notice is massive diversity in terms of countries, cultures, backgrounds, and that really just opens your mind to be literally open to other people, other costumes, other ways of thinking, other languages. It's so much that I've learned, because literally I met people from countries that I didn't even know they exist, like, oh wow, where's that in the map? But then once you open your eyes and your mind to understand that your truth is not the only one, there's many little worlds and universes around you. And man, it's just such a beautiful way to explore this field of counseling. My name is...
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go on to our Q&A session now. So we'll just cover, I just will cover one question here. Do you know about costing after fee help? Just to let you know, if you are an Australian citizen, you can apply for the fee help loan. So we can go over the details with that if you want to reach out to your course advisor. Depending on the course that you're doing, we'll be able to answer that question with you tomorrow if you like. And let's start looking at, we did have accreditation. So did you just want to discuss about the ACA for the Bachelor and our Masters, please, Kathryn?
Yes. So our bachelor degree, sorry, I'm just trying to close this window. Our bachelor degree and our master's is ACA accredited. So that means upon completion, you will exit with eligibility to register as a level 2 counsellor with ACA. So that's and that helps you get with your insurance to practice if you're going into private practice. And it also, ACA has an abundance of resources that you can use and professional developments. The other thing is it's aligning with, ACA is aligned with national standards. So it's a recognised professional membership.
Okay, excellent. I'm just covering also a question from Ebony. So I did talk about some of the class times earlier. So for example, if you're doing just one subject, it's 1 3-hour class live each week for the duration of the trimester. And on top of that, the extra hours, would you say it's about 10 hours per subject, Kathryn?
Yeah, I think the subjects, some people do the readings and the materials quicker than others. Myself, I was a bit of a slower one. So I would allow between 9 and I think probably 12 to 15 hours per subject per week.
Mm-hmm.
But, obviously when you get the hang of the systems, it gets a bit quicker.
Yeah, that's what I say to students. Even, just start out slow, but as you get used to how everything works and your schedule and your study timetable, then it's a lot easier to sort of progress a little bit quicker through the course.
Yeah, and our classes, sorry, Chris, our classes are 9 a.m. till 12. So a 3-hour, then we have an afternoon class, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then 6 till 9 p.m. at night. So you can just purely do the online classes in the bachelor. And in the masters, you can do just the online classes, but you will have to attend those 3 intensive schools.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Flexibility. Okay. The intensives are a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, great. And students usually have plenty of notice before they attend those, so they can always organise their schedules. It's not like you're doing that in the first trimester. So
even I think in the graduate, the first one is Foundations of Therapeutic Practice, which is in the graduate certificate of counselling. And then there's one in the graduate diploma, and then the final one at the end, towards the end of the master's degree.
Yep. Excellent. Okay. We've covered that one. Now the classes aren't recorded. The lectures aren't recorded. A student has asked that, but if, say, for example, a student can't make a class, lecture slides are uploaded onto their learning platform.
Yes, they can access the slides. And I strongly encourage students, if you can't attend a class and you've got questions, reach out to your educator. So ask. It's, we know life happens and things go on. So it's about being proactive too. So looking through the material and saying, I still don't quite get that, and ask.
Okay. And someone's asking, the master's classes online are typically in the evenings, aren't they? Most of those are in the evening.
We've got during the day. We've got online during the day and in the evenings. It varies.
Yeah. Because we have a lot of people who work full-time, professionals, etc. So they want to be able to attend the classes. So that's certainly an option there. Just to cover, Shane, you're enrolled in the Masters of Counselling and Psychotherapy. Timetables will be getting released in the next couple of weeks. And so please hang tight. They are on their way. We're still enrolling students.
Work in progress.
Yes, it's all happening. So hopefully next week you'll be able to hear from somebody. Anything else? Vitesh, someone will reach out to you about Commonwealth supported places. Icon's a private provider. We're a full fee paying course, so we don't offer Commonwealth supported places. And what's it? Do you track where your grades, particularly bachelor, 12 months or more after graduation? I'm not sure. Do you know how many of our students are sort of working in private practices, Kathryn, or what they're sort of doing?
I can't give you any firm statistics data on that, but just, talking to students at graduation that were employed straight out. Some students get jobs out of their placement. So there's definitely work out there. As for the specific data, sorry, but I'm sure someone will have that.
Okay. One of the questions we got, what is the difference between ACA and PACFA? I find this confusing.
Okay, so ACA and PACFA are both professional bodies recognising counselling qualifications. PACFA and ACA both independently places either register with their courses with ACA or with PACFA, some with both. PACFA and ACA are very similar in their, and I won't go into anything about that. But yeah, when the main thing is when you graduate is you to be registered with one of them to be accredited. So that's the most important thing. It means when you hang that shingle on your door, you've proven that you've met the criteria for it. So,
absolutely.
And you can get your professional insurance with it. Now, both of them make sure, both of the bodies, you do need to, in order to maintain your registration, you need to have a certain number of professional developments you complete during a year. They may be just, attending conferences or presenting at a conference or doing additional training. And that's to ensure that your currency remains, that you're keeping up with changes in the industry and you're developing yourself as a practitioner. The other thing is it is compulsory with both organisations that you have mandatory supervision. So when you work with clients, you must also engage a clinical supervisor to help you along your journey.
Excellent. Thank you for addressing that question. I think we've sort of covered most of them. Is there anything else you want to add, Kathryn? Like, would you say, I know that we have a lot of people inquiring who, are interested in postgraduate study, but they're coming from a background which isn't related. And sometimes I do sort of say to them, those first 4 subjects are really preparing you for moving deeper towards the masters. Did you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so if you're coming from a non-cognate degree, so what I mean by that is you've come from, we'll say, engineering, and you decide you want to do your master's in counselling, you can enter the course. There's different pathways. You can enter the course and you will undertake the first 4 units, which is the Graduate Certificate of Counselling. If you've done a counselling degree or undergraduate degree, you apply for recognition of prior learning, and some of those first 4 units may be credited, so you may not have to do them. But if you've got no counselling background, no psychology, social work, or that's what I mean by a cognate, you will need to do those first 4 units. But it's fine because that's the entry level. That's where you're going to learn those key skills.
That's right. And I think a lot of students coming into the course have had an interest in that area anyway, so they tend to be, fairly up to speed. Just in regards to credit as well, just to let you know, if you are applying for our courses, especially the undergraduate degree, for example, the bachelor, and you've completed a diploma in counselling at TAFE or a vet provider, you may be eligible for a block credit. But anything separate to that within the last 10 years that you've completed where you feel there may be some crossover, at least 80% crossover, you may be eligible for recognition of prior learning. However, we can't tell you that up front. Usually it gets assessed by one of our academics. So again, reach out to your course advisor and they'll be able to give you a little bit more information about where you might be sitting. Susanna, just to let you know, the breaks, you can find our online key dates on our website. So typically you have like your trimester, and then it's about 2 to 3 weeks break in between. Is that right, Kathryn?
Yeah, a little bit longer, I'm hoping.
Nice. Oh, good. Even better. So
3+, yeah.
yeah.
There
Okay,
was
fantastic.
a question in here. There's two I'd like to answer if possible.
Yeah.
One was, if you enroll as an online student, can you attend any in person? Absolutely. You know, there's students that suddenly say, well, you know what? I'm cutting back my work one day and there's an online class, or, you know, online classes for that unit on campus. They may choose to do that. So that can happen. Another question, can clients receive a Medicare rebate when seeing graduates of the Masters? Now, currently, Medicare, there is a process. You can register as a counsellor for for health insurance. Medicare is still work in progress for counselling, but but you can register with the private health insurance funds. But you will need to have a few years practice to, it's usually a level 4 ACA, and you graduate with a level 2. So it's about building up those client hours and your supervision hours. So once you build them up and you move up the levels for proficiency, then you'll be eligible to apply for health fund, etc., provider numbers.
Excellent. And with the placement, just jumping to this question before we sort of wrap up, typically I know people are working, it usually like it spans out over 12 weeks, doesn't it? Like maybe 1 day per week over 12 weeks for a 120-hour placement?
Yeah, it's actually, some of them are 2.5 days.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to meet the hours. So I think allowing, and again, this isn't my field of expertise, everyone. So, but it's usually a few days, 2.5 days, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it may
Fantastic.
mean that, I know it's really difficult for those working full time, but in the past, students have taken leave from their job to complete their placement, you know, a few days off a week to complete the placement. In saying that, some people do the placement on a Saturday,
Okay,
on a
so you can do
weekend.
it on weekends.
Or, yeah, as
Excellent.
long as you, from my understanding, as long as you are supervised by a qualified person and you're not just sitting there on your own doing it. So,
Okay.
yeah, there are options, but placement is really the culmination of everything for you.
Excellent. No, thank you for sharing that. I just think we're getting close to time now. For any questions we didn't get to live, we can contact you tomorrow to go over some more personalized questions, which sort of we can address for you individually. But I just wanted to thank everyone for attending this evening and for taking your time out. Thank you to Kathryn, to Ross. And as I mentioned earlier, please reach out to your course advisor. We've only got a couple more weeks left before applications close. And there's also the scholarship offers on for some eligible students. So I hope everyone has a lovely evening. And thank you again. And hopefully we'll see you on the course. Thanks, Kathryn. Thanks, Ross.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Andrew. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.